Good morning, class. Welcome to the online classes for physics. Here we are going to see the revision of your two chapters, that is force and the laws of motion and the motion. In the next video I will be making a revision video for your motion. Here you can see the second chapter, that is the force and the laws of motion. So it will be an exam of the midterm in the format of the MCQs itself. So it can be a conceptual MCQ or the numerical or the assertion reason. We will see what the assertion reason is in this video itself. So firstly we will see a quick revision that what we have read in the force and the laws of motion. Firstly we have seen that what the force is, that is the external effort kept on that object so that we can change its state of rest or the state of motion. So that here you can see it is written that the force is that agency that it can change the state of rest or the uniform motion or can change the shape or the direction of the body. We know this because it is the effect of the force. What were the effects? That it can change the state of rest or motion, it can stop a moving body, it can move a rest body, it can change the shape and the size, it can change the direction of the body, it can even accelerate a body. So these were the effects of the forces. What was the unit for the force? It was Newton. And we have seen the types of forces also. Here we will see what the balanced and the unbalanced force is. We know that the balanced forces are that force in which the net force sum or the sum of the net forces or the resultant forces acting on a body will be zero. Right? So maybe the two forces acting on a body will be of equal magnitude but in the opposite direction. Then it will say that the forces are equal. And if these equal forces are acting in the opposite direction, the sum of both the resultant force will be 0. Because if one force is 5 Newton, the other reactant force will be minus 5. So together it will be 0. So we can say that the resultant or force is 0. So it will be a balanced force. So this is a kind of balanced force in which the resultant force will be 0. And balanced force, we know that if the resultant force is 0, then the body cannot be moved. So to move a body, any of the force, either of the force should be more than that of the other one, right? Either of the force should be of other magnitude and the direction should also be opposite. But the balanced force does not move a body because the forces are of equal magnitude, so the body cannot be displaced or the body will not have the motion. So body cannot be moved, it cannot change its direction, cannot change its speed. So balanced force cannot change the speed of a body. Similarly, the unbalanced force is the force in which the resultant force is not equals to 0. That is, the direction may be of different but the magnitudes will also be of different. So the unbalanced force will cause the body to move, right? It can cause the body's motion. It can change the speed or the direction of the body. So the balanced force will not have the resultant force as a 0. So what is resultant force? We know that whenever the force acting on the bodies will have different concurrent forces, right? Concurrent means different, more or two more than the forces acting at a single point. That is, if some person, 2 or 3 persons are together want to pull or push a body, then what we can say that the forces are acted upon by the different persons on a single body. So that will be a concurrent force. So then the single force which produces the same effect as produced by all the forces will be said as a resultant force, right? If we are sitting stationary, it doesn't mean that we are not having any kind of force. We are having a force that will be in the downward direction, that is in the form of our weight, that is mg, will be acting in the downward direction. Then the force of its reaction will be acting in the opposite direction. So together this forces will give the resultant force. The sum of different forces acting on it will give the resultant force. And we have seen that the types of forces were given by, that is contact force and the non-contact force. What was the contact? That they exerted by the body only when the objects are kept in a physical contact. Then only the force can be exerted on the body. For example, there was muscular force, there was a friction force. And for the non-contact force, that is the body, whether it is in the physical contact or not, the body will be acted upon by the force, and that force is said to be the gravitational force, electrical force, or the electromagnetic force, because they are not in a physical contact but will have or will be able to see the forces also, right? And in the force we have seen, after that we have the inertia. That inertia is the property that just opposes the change in the motion, that is opposes the change in the motion of the rest of the body. But inertia is the property Inertia is the property of the body or the tendency of a body to remain at rest or remain at a state of motion. That is, if a body is in the rest condition, it tries to be in a rest condition for a long time. If it is in the motion, then it tries to be in the motion for a long time. So this is what the tendency of a body to remain at rest or to remain at motion. So inertia will be opposing the motion or opposing the rest. So inertia is the property of a body due to which the body opposes any change in its state of rest or the state of motion. Okay, so if the mass is more, then it is more difficult to move that object, so we cannot change its state of rest to state of motion. So the mass will directly proportional to inertia, that if the mass is more, then the inertia of the body will also be more, and if the mass is less, the inertia will also be less. And after that, we have seen that the Newton's law of motion, that Newton gave the 3 laws for the motion. That is, first thing, Newton's first law of motion was given that every body that remains its rest will continue to be in the rest, and if the body is in the motion, then continue its state of motion until or unless it's acted upon by the force. And this motion's law is said to be the Newton's first law of motion. So from here you have seen that he defined the inertia also. So the first law of motion also said to be the law of inertia. Okay, what was the Newton's second law of motion? That the rate of the change of the momentum is directly proportional to the force applied on it. And what was the momentum? That is the product of the mass and the velocity of the body. It was just an impact of force. So if the body is having the large mass, it will have the large momentum, but the velocity will be less. And if the momentum will be large, then it can any of the value, that is a mass or the velocity, can either be of the values be greater, then the momentum will also be greater. If the velocity is greater, then the mass is considered to be less. Right? If the body is of the less mass, if we throw it, we can throw it with a high velocity. If the mass is high, then we cannot throw it with a less velocity. Right? We can only throw to some distance, that is, it moving with a less velocity. We cannot throw it with a high velocity. So if the mass is greater, then the velocity will be less. If the mass is less, then the velocity will be of greater value. So the momentum will depend on either of the value, that is mass or the velocity. If any of the value is greater, then the momentum of the body will also be greater. So we can say that the momentum is the impact of the force itself. So the rate of the change of the momentum with respect to time is directly proportional to that of the unbalanced or the force exerted by any external cause. So what was the third law of motion? That is, every action will have an equal and the opposite reaction. That is, if there is an action or a force applied on a body, then it will have its opposite reaction. That is, it will have another force acting in the opposite direction with of the equal magnitude. Okay. So what was the friction? That it was the frictional force is a force that is acted upon in the opposite direction that of the motion. It always allows to be act in the opposite direction to the motion, that it will try to stop a body. Okay, so the force of friction is always acts in the contact of the body with the surface. So the force of friction is compared to be a force of the opposite motion. So it can be said that is a opposing force. So to reduce the friction, the lubricants are used, and if the friction is high, then we cannot walk also. So the frictional force is acts between the contact of the two bodies. What was the impulse? The product of the force and the time is said to be the impulse. What is impulse? It is also an impact of force, but it is a large range of the force acting in a small time. That is, a small time force will be of large, then it is said to be the impulse, and it is given as the formula for impulse is J is equals to F into T. So this is the formula for the impulse. And impulse example, like if you in a cricket, if a batsman just hit a ball, then the ball come to that batsman with a less velocity. Not means less, but the velocity as compared to the batsman's hitting, it will be less. And after hitting the bowler's ball, then the batsman will hit with the high velocity, because the ball will go with the highest distance, that it will cover more velocity and will have the high momentum also, and the momentum will directly proportional to force. So we can say that the force of that batsman hitting the ball will be of higher velocity and will have the high value also. But when the bowler try to hit that ball to the bat, it will be of less velocity. And the hitting time, that the batsman, whether it take a large time, no, it will just take a seconds to hit the ball, but the momentum and the impact of the force will be of a large value. So the force acted upon a body with a large value but for a small time or a small range of time, it is said to be the impulse. So it is given as force into time, and if we talk about the unit, it will be Newton second. So what were the formulas which we have read? That the force is equals to mass into acceleration, that is force is equals to m into a. If we have to find acceleration, then it will be force upon mass. And for momentum, we have seen the product of mass and velocity, that is m into v. And we have seen that the change in the momentum, that is the initial momentum and the final momentum. So mv minus mu, that is the final momentum minus initial one. So it can be written as mv minus mu. On taking m as common, it can be written as mv minus u. Impulse, normally we say that the force acted for a short time, it will be a product of force and the time, that is F into t. Similarly, we have seen the law of conservation of momentum, that is the rate of the change of the momentum will be directly proportional to the force, and from there we have seen that the force acted upon by the body will be given as the impact of momentum. So the momentum before collision will be equal to that of the momentum after collision. Okay. So here you will be seeing some numericals. You will be having the MCQ pattern itself. So you have to solve the question and you have to write the answer. So you have to select an option that which the answer will be. Okay. So here are some questions. First example, you can see here that which would require a greater force for accelerating a 10 gram mass or a 5 meter acceleration, or a 20 gram mass of 2 meter per second square. Here mass and acceleration is given, so we can find out the force also, and force is given as in the form of kg itself, right? Here mass is given in 10 grams, so it will be 10 divided by 1000, it will become kg. So it is mass, and acceleration is given by 5, so cancel one of the 5, so it will be 1 upon 20, it will be some 0.05 Newton. So force will be mass into acceleration, which is given as 0.05 Newton. It be the first equation, that is the, for the first case the force is given as 0.05. Similarly, for the second case, it is given that the body is of 20 grams. So mass is given as 20 grams. So on changing it 20 upon 1000, it will change into kg. Similarly, acceleration is given as 2 meter per second square. So for force, on multiplying this, that is 2 upon 1000 into 2. So it will be 4 upon 1000. On dividing it, so we can write 3 digits, right? It will be 0.04. Okay, so it will be 0.04 Newton. Okay, so this value will be the force for the second condition. So it's asking that which force is greater, that is for the first condition or the second condition. See, first condition was 0.05 and for second condition 0.04. So which is more? The first one. So force for accelerating the first object will be more than the force accelerating for the second object. See the second question, that what is the acceleration produced by the force of 12 Newton exerted on an object of mass 3 kg. It is asking about acceleration, but we know that the force is equals to mass into acceleration. It is given that the force exerted is 12 Newton, mass is given as 3 kg, and we have to find the acceleration. So acceleration will be 12 upon 3, which will be given as 4, and what is the unit of acceleration? It will be 4 meter per second square. In exam, there will be options like minus 4 meter per second square, 4 meter per second square, 2 or 3. So just have to solve and find out the value that which option is the correct one. So the third one, that what force would be needed to produce an acceleration of 4 meter per second square on a ball 6 kg. Here also mass and acceleration both are given, that is 6 kg, and acceleration is given by 4 meter per second square. So what is force will be, that is mass into acceleration, 6 into 4, it will be 24 Newton. So force will be as 24 Newton. See the next one, that object undergoes an acceleration of 8 meter per second square. A is given as 8 meter per second square. Okay. Similarly, it's starting from rest. So any object starting from rest will have initial velocity as 0, and it will have some velocity value for the final one. Find the distance traveled in 1 second. So time is also given 1 second, and you have to find the distance, that is s. So what the s, u, a, t together will give an equation. It will be the second equation of motion, that is s is equals to ut plus half a t square. So it will be u will be 0. So the first pattern will become 0 plus half a was given as a and t is given as 1 square. So 1 square will be 1 and it will be 4. So distance covered will be 4 meter. So distance covered can be given as 4 meter. Similarly, see the next question, that is a truck starts from rest, again u will be 0, rolls down a hill with a constant acceleration, so a is given, it travels a distance of 400 meter, so s is given, and time 20 seconds, it is also given. We have to find that constant acceleration and we also have to find the force also. So for force it will be mass into acceleration. So from the first thing we can have to find out the acceleration. On putting this value in the force formula we can find out the force value. So here it is given that initial speed will be 0, that is the body starting from the rest, and distance was covered as 400, time is given as 20 seconds. We have to find a. So on using the second equation of motion we can find out the value of a, that is s is equals to ut plus half a t square. So it will be ut, that is 0, plus half a t square. So acceleration we have to find, and t square will be 20 square and will be equal to, that is distance 400. So 20 square will be 400 itself. So on just cancelling it will be 200. Here the 400 is already given. So acceleration will be 400 upon 200. So the value of acceleration will be 2 meter per second square. So this is the value for the acceleration, that is 2 meter per second square. We have to find out the force. So what is force? That is mass into acceleration. Now we have find out the acceleration, that it is 2 meter per second square, that is a is equals to 2 meter per second square, and mass is given as 7 metric tons. And what that means, metric tons will be given as 1000 kg. 1 metric ton is equals to 1000 kg. So 7 metric ton will be 7000 kg. On multiplying this mass and the acceleration we will get the force, that is 7000 mass, that is kg, into 2, that it will be 14,000 Newton. Okay, so this is the value for the force. Now here the second question is given, that a certain force exerted for 1.2 second raises the speed of a body from 1.8 meter per second to 4.2 meter per second. That is, you have taken the time as 1.2 seconds and you have changed the velocity from 1.8 to 4.2 meter per second. So initially it was 1.8 meter per second, finally it got 4.2 meter per second. So the change in velocity can be given as 4.2 minus 1.8, which will be equals to 2.4 meter per second. And if we have to find out the acceleration, it will be change in the velocity with respect to time. So 2.4 upon time was given as 1.2 second, that is 12 to the 24, it will be 2 meter per second square. So you got the acceleration as 2 meter per second square. Now what it is given, that later the same force is applied for 2 seconds, that is the same force will be applied for 2 seconds. Now by how much speed change in 2 seconds, we have to find out the change, right? We know that force is equals to mass into acceleration. From here can we find out the acceleration's value? We have already find out for the first case, because the mass is the same but acceleration is also the same. We just have to change the velocities. So force acting on the body will be given as, that is mass into acceleration, right, for the force. But a is given as 2 and mass is also the same. So from here we can find out the force. But the question is that what does the speed change in 2 seconds? What is the change in the speed? That is v minus u. Change in the speed is given by v minus u. And the change in the velocity with respect to time is given as acceleration. We have already acceleration 2 meter per second square, and change in velocity is given by v minus u. And upon t, for what time we are changing it? It is for 2 seconds. So change in velocity can be given as 2 into 2, that is 4 meter per second square. So the change in velocity will be given as 4 meter per second. Since it is velocity, so it will be 4 meter per second square. Similar next question, the two blocks made of different metals identical in shape and size are acted upon by the equal forces. This force F1 and F2 will be of equal. Similarly, equal forces slide on a horizontal surface, acceleration of the second block is found to be 5 times that of the first one. That is, if the acceleration of the first object is given as x, then the second object will have the acceleration as 5x. I have to find out the ratio of the masses. We know that force is given as ma. For the first object will be m1 f m1 a1, f2 will be given as m2 a2. So on just taking the ratio of these forces, we can get this m1 upon m2 a1 a2. But we have the ratio of the accelerations, because acceleration was given at the first object for x and the second object is 5x. So on taking the values of the ratio of the acceleration, which is given as x upon 5x, which will be 1 by 5. So the ratio of acceleration is 1 by 5. So we know that the acceleration is force by mass, so F by m1, that is first force is common for both the object, that is force is equals to m1, force m2 is equals to 1 by 5. Force and force will be cancelled, so it will be m2 upon m1 is equals to 1 by 5. So the object mass m1 is of 5 and m2 is of 1, but we only have to find out the ratio, so it will be 1:5. Now the next question, a force of 5 Newton gives a mass m1 on acceleration 8 meter per second and a mass m2 an acceleration of 24 meter per second. So what is the acceleration would it give if both the masses are tied together? We know that if the force is of 5 Newton and mass m1, acceleration was 8 meter per second square. So for mass m1, it will be force is equals to mass into acceleration. From there, if we find out the value of m, then it will be force upon acceleration. So force is 5 upon 8. Okay, so let it be the equation number 1, that is 5 upon 8. 5 upon 8. The second one, again the force is same for this condition is also, that is 5 will only there, and mass will be now changes into m2. So mass will be changes into m2, and acceleration for the second is 24. So the force F2 will be given as m2 into a. Again m2 will be given as force upon second acceleration, that is 5 upon 24. So this is the second equation. The other two masses we already got. Now we have to find out what the acceleration would have give if both the masses are tied together, that is force is equals to mass into acceleration. We already know that force is equals to mass into acceleration, but we have tied these two objects, that is m1 plus m2 together. So there will be two masses and the acceleration, and the mass is same, that is the mass will be of the sum of the two masses. Force is same, that is 5 Newton itself. Mass m1 plus m2, what the masses we have taken as, that is 5 by 8 and 5 by 24, and acceleration we have to find. Let this 5 be same, this together it will be 24, so 15 plus 5 into a, so it is 20 upon 24. 20 upon 24 into a is equals to 5. So what is the value of acceleration? That is 24 into 5 upon 20. It will be 6 meter per second square. If both the masses are tied together, then the acceleration will be 6 meter per second square. So this is a kind of the MCQs for your numericals, right? This is a kind of numericals from where you will get the question. So you have to take out the correct option by solving the question. Here we are going to see the assertion and reason, right? What this assertion and reason means, that if there are the two statements will be given in the question. First one, assertion, that is the positive statement which will be given to you, and the other statement is given as reason, that is the statement which you have taken as assertion, that is a positive statement. So it will be the reason for that option. Okay, so you have to check out whether this reason is the correct explanation for that positive statement, that is assertion, or not. Okay, so you will be getting the directions also. See that if A is the assertion and R is the reason, if both the assertion and reason are correct, because both can be correct, but R cannot be the correct explanation of A. So there will be two options that both are the correct one. That is, assertion and reason are true, but the reason is correct explanation of the assertion. That will be the option A. And if both the assertion and the reason are true, but now the reason will be not the correct explanation of A, then it will be the set B option. Now the C one, that the assertion is true but the reason is false. And the last D option will be that both the assertion and reason are false in their sense. Okay, so we have to see them in the individual sense itself. Okay, see the first question, that a rocket works on the principle of conservation of the linear momentum. We know that whenever the rocket is there, then the gas fuels are used to be going in the downward direction and the rocket will move upward. So this is the conservation of the linear momentum, that is, the gas will be ejected in the backward direction and the rocket will be moving in the upward direction. So both the momentum should be equal, that is, at what velocity with which the gases are ejecting out, with the same velocity the rocket will be moving in the upward direction. So it follows the principle of the conservation of linear momentum, because in the conservation of linear momentum in the classes, a video I have shown you the application also, that is, one of the application is jet plane and the other one is rocket. So from there also you can say that the rocket works on the principle of conservation of linear momentum. Now what the reason is, that the SI unit of force is Newton. SI unit of force is Newton, right? This is the correct one. And the conservation of the linear momentum is also the correct one. Whether this reason is the correct explanation for assertion, that is, a force is having the unit as Newton, that's why the rocket works on the principle of conservation of linear momentum. No. Why? Because force have the SI unit as Newton, that is the true statement, and the first statement is also the true. But the reason is not the correct explanation for that of the assertion. So here you have to check out that the B option is for that. The assertion and reason are true because both are true, but the correct explanation is not the for the reason. So reason is not the correct explanation for the assertion. So you will be taking as the option D. Okay. Now see the second assertion and reason, that an electric fan continues to rotate for some time after the current is switched off, right? Why? Because it is moving and it used to be switched off. When we switch off, we used to see that the fan tries to move but with some less velocity. So electric fan continues to rotate for some time after the current is switched off. This is the true statement, right? Now the next thing, it happens because the inertia of rest, it is written as rest. Okay, so inertia of rest, what we know that the electric fan used to rotate after switching off also, but it happens because of the inertia of rest, but it is not inertia of rest. Why? Because the body is already moving, so it is inertia of fan always used to move, right? So on rotating it will continue to rotate, it is the inertia of motion. So reason for the object to be in the motion after switching off the fan also, it is due to the inertia of motion, not due to the inertia of the rest. So the assertion is correct one, reason statement is also not correct. So here the explanation is a different one. If both the are the right statements, then we will see to the correction, that is whether the explanation is correct or not. But now the reason is a wrong statement. So we can say that the reason is wrong, that is false, and the assertion is true. So which option it will be for? That is the C option, that is assertion is true but the reason is false. So you will be taking the option C. See the next question, that the impulse and the momentum can't be expressed in the same units. Okay. Next thing, impulse is equal to the rate of the change of the linear momentum. Now I will tell you what the impulse was, that it is denoted by the letter J, and we have seen that whenever the cricket batsman hit the ball with a large force, because he used to apply a large force on that ball, and that ball moved with a high momentum also because it is moving with the largest velocity. So we can say that it is moving with a high momentum and force is also large, but that force had take the time smallest time. So the force of large force experienced by the body in a small range of time, it is said to be the impulse, and it is denoted by the letter J, and it is given as force into time. Similarly, we know about the momentum also, that momentum is the impact of force which is given by the product of mass and velocity. So these two are the impulse and the momentum. What it is given, that the impulse and sorry, the impulse and the momentum can't be expressed in the same units. Whether it can be expressed in the same units? Yes, because force into time, that is, force into time will be given as Newton second, and the mass will be, that is, kg meter per second. Okay, so this impulse and momentum, but together if we will see, this both are same. Okay, same. Why? Because see, J is given as force into time, but we know that force is the rate of change of momentum with respect to time. Force can be given as P into T, and if it is again multiplied to T, then T will be cancelled. So J will be equals to that of P itself. So both will be expressed, can be expressed with the same units, right? It can be expressed with the same units. So impulse and momentum can be expressed with the same unit, but here can't be expressed as written, so it is a false statement. Second one, impulse is equals to the rate of the change of the linear momentum. So here that is the rate of linear change of linear momentum. Now itself I say that J is the F into T. So rate of change of momentum with respect to time is force, and if we take it into T, then T and T cancel, it will be only P. So we can say that this statement will be for the force, not for the impulse. So both are the false statements. So we can say that both are the false statements. So which option you will take it out? That is the D option, that if both assertion and reason are false. Similarly, the next question, force of friction, a body of mass 1 kg is moving with an acceleration of 1 meter per second square. Okay, it is moving with an acceleration of 1 meter per second square, and it is mass of 1 kg. Rate of change of its momentum is 1 Newton. Okay, it is 1 Newton. We know that m into v, so mass is 1 kg and velocity is 1 meter per second square. So force will be, or the rate of change of momentum is force. That's why force will be, that is, mass is given and my velocity is also given. So P is given, that the rate of change of momentum will be given as 1 Newton. So this is the correct statement. Second one, rate of change of momentum is equal to the force applied on the body. This is also the correct statement. So both are, that's why we have used this formula, right? Force is equals to P upon T. So both are the correct statement, and the reason is also the correct explanation for the assertion. So you will be using the option A. So this is how you have to just use the assertion and reason and have to take out the options. Now see the next question, that force of friction increases when the force is in contact with the two smooth, that when the surface are in contact are too smooth, that is, if the contact is smooth, then the force of friction will increase. This is a correct statement, that is, force of the friction will increase when surfaces in the contact are too smooth. And second one, smoothness decreases friction, right? Smoothness decreases friction. It is not the correct explanation for the assertion. So you will be using the option B, that both are true, but the reason is not the correct explanation of the assertion. Now the second one, that is, a horse cannot run a cart in empty space. It cannot run a cart in empty space, but it is given the reason that cart runs only on the account of the reaction of the ground on the feet of the horse. That is the correct one. That is, horse cannot run a cart in empty space because there should be friction in between the horse's feet and the ground. That is, both contact should have the highest force. That is, contact will have the good reaction. So the cart can be run only when the reaction will be there, or the reaction of the ground on the feet should be there. That is, friction should work. So both are the correct statement, and the explanation is also the correct for the assertion. Similarly, see the seventh one, that is, a given force applied for the given time causes the same change in the linear momentum of a different bodies. That is, assertion is given as that a given force applied on the given time, that is, force applied in a time, changes in the linear momentum of the different bodies. Similarly, because it is the rate of change of momentum with respect to time, so assertion is the correct. Now see the reason, that is, now itself I have told you that force applied for a given time, that is, force into time, that is del P upon del T. If you cross it, then it will be F into T. So Ft will be given as a change of linear momentum, and it will be constant for all the body. So the rate of the change in momentum will be change in the linear momentum of different bodies. So it is the correct explanation for the assertion. So these are the first option, that is the assertion and the reason are the correct one, and the reason is also the correct explanation for the assertion. Similarly, the eighth one, that a body falling freely under the gravity becomes weightlessness, right? It always weightlessness in the property, that is the body whenever comes into the gravity we feel it as weightlessness. And similarly, the next one reason is given that R is equals to mg minus a. Here R, remember it, that R is the reactional force. R is the reactional force. Let us consider that as a body is like this. You have a mg in the downward direction, that is force acting as a weight, and the other force will be in the opposite direction. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So R will be given as reaction force. Now we know that both are in the opposite direction, so the both are in R will be balancing each other. So that is R is equals to mg. Now we know that the gravity and the acceleration, because the body is falling, so the gravity and the acceleration both will be in the downward direction, right? So it will be given that R mg minus a. And here we know that the acceleration and gravity both will be equal because both are moving in the downward direction itself. So a is equals to g, and we know that mg minus a. So g and a are both equal, so m into 0. So reaction force is 0. So we can say that the both are balanced force, and the first assertion was given that the body becomes weightlessness. That's why the reaction force is 0. So we feel as weightlessness. So it is also the option A, that is both assertion and reason are correct, and the reason is the correct explanation for the assertion. Next one, net force acting on a body rest is never 0. It is a false statement. Okay? And after that it is written that the balanced force is required to accelerate a motion of the body is false because it cannot move a body. So it is also a false statement. It is also a false statement. So it will be the option D, that is if both assertion and reason are false. 10th one, Newton's second law of motion gives the measurement of the force. It's true because it is gives the measurement of the force, that is it gives the momentum, rate of change of momentum with respect to the time. So it gives the measurement of the force itself. Similarly, what the reason is given, that according to Newton's second law of motion, rate of change of momentum of an object is directly proportional to the force applied on it. So both the statement and reason are correct, and reason is the correct explanation for the force. So it will be option A. Now see the 11th one, that is the assertion 1 Newton is equals to 10 to the power minus 5 dyne. Remember that Newton is a SI unit for the force and dyne is the CGS unit for the force. So we know that 1 Newton is equals to 10 to the power 5 dyne. It is given as minus. So it will be the wrong statement. So assertion is wrong. Reason, that is 1 unit of impulse is Newton per second, and we have seen that impulse is force into time. So it will be Newton second, not inverse. So it is also a wrong statement. So assertion, reason both are wrong. So the option will be D, that is both assertion and reason are the wrong statement, or both assertion and reason are the false one. So option will be D. This is the 12th one. That is if net external force is acting on an object is 0, then its acceleration is also 0. Okay, so it is given that if a body is have with a balanced force, and we know that the balanced force does not able to move the body, so the acceleration will be 0. So it is a correct statement. Assertion is correct. Now reason, acceleration of an object does not depend on its mass. It is a false one. That is assertion. That is assertion is correct, but the reason is false because it is written that the acceleration of an object does not depend on its mass, because velocity depends on mass and the acceleration is also depends on mass. We cannot accelerate a body with a high velocity. So mass depends on the acceleration and velocity also. So the statement is wrong. So it will be C, that is assertion is true but the reason is false. Similarly, see the 13th one, that is Newton's second law of motion is known as the law of inertia. This is a wrong statement because first law of motion is the law of inertia. Newton's first law of motion gives the measurement of force. This is also wrong. That is inverse. That is second law gives the measurement of the force and the first law gives the inertia. So that will be the D option, that is both inertia and the, that is assertion and the reason both are wrong. So this is a kind of assertion and the reason, and these are the MCQs which can be given in the form of numericals itself. So this is a revision for your chapter force and the laws of motion. Similarly, we will be seeing it for the motion also. So thank you class.